Pleased to be joined by retired Air Force General Michael Hayden. General Hayden, also former director of both the CIA and the NSA, now a principal at the Chertoff Group. Mike, we thank you for being back with us today on America's Forum.
Thanks very much, JD. Happy to be here.
So, Mike, ISIS claims responsibility for beheading photojournalist James Foley. As John mentioned, this group is threatening to execute yet another American journalist. What should be the American response?
Well, number one, JD, we really did get a chance yesterday to look absolute evil in its face, did we not? And it's a reminder of what it is we're dealing with here in the Middle East. I'm aware of the threatened killing of the second journalist, JD. Unless we've got reasonably confident geolocational information on where this man might be, there is very little we can do. We certainly don't want to give in to this kind of terrorism, but without good intelligence, we can't prevent the act either.
What do you think is ISIS's ultimate goal here?
They have embraced rather strongly the traditional al-Qaeda vision, different tactics, different organizational structures, but they are establishing a caliphate. I think a caliphate that will extend at least as far as the farthest extent of the original caliphate. They view that the West is making war on Islam. They refer to us as crusaders, an identity none of us, I think, would take as a self-identifier. And I think they mean to aggressively reach out and strike at us until they have their way in what they view to be the caliphate.
Some people have speculated that the U.S. is in part to blame for sparking such a group like ISIS. Do you agree with that assessment? I
don't know how we would have generated this. This comes out of the pre-existing pathologies within the Middle East. Look, we have a formula for dealing with insurgencies, and for the moment, let me just treat this as an insurgency. Number one is to decapitate it, to try to take its leadership off the battlefield. The second is to deny it safe haven. And the third and most difficult task is to change the facts on the ground. There, I think, Randa, that's what you're getting at. How do we change the facts on the ground that would prevent the creation of these kinds of people, this kind of an organization? That's a long-term project and one that, frankly, will be very difficult for us to do. In the meantime, we have to make ourselves more safe. And that does mean taking the leadership off the battlefield and denying it safe haven. So even if they're not less willing to hurt us, they're less capable.
Mike Hayden, you have advised presidents. You have worn the uniform of our military. You understand our intelligence capabilities. You just outlined steps 1, 2, and 3. Would you modify those under political realities and given the public disposition of our current commander-in-chief? We expect an announcement from him today. What do you expect we'll hear from the president?
Well, that I don't know. But JD, I mean, we've already got a gap between the president's rhetoric and the president's actions. I really mean this. I mean, he said we're there to prevent genocide and to protect Americans. And over the weekend, we turned ourselves into the Kurdish Air Force and provided pretty good close air support for the Kurds and the Iraqis as they retook the Mosul Dam. I think that's a good thing, but it's already well beyond what the president said he was going to do. I think he needs to do more of that.
Well, Mike, at the very least, and we have less than a minute left, speaking of time, will this at least change the timeline for American withdrawal in Afghanistan, in your opinion?
The president, the administration, to be specific, the administration has said it will not. JD, I think it was a mistake when we made the timeline, and I think it's very apparent why it was a mistake now. So frankly, I'm disappointed in that. I mean, one way of looking at this is that the president has promised with this withdrawal by 2000, by the time he leaves office, by the time he leaves the Oval, he's going to make Afghanistan look like Iraq.
Wow.
That's not a good plan.
And that's a tough place to end it, but we'll have to do it there. Michael Hayden, an advisor to lignet.com. For more in-depth analysis, why don't you check out that website, lignet.com. We thank you, Mike, and America's Forum continues after this.